what if I told you that just 5 minutes a day in one single position could completely change how your body feels? I mean, especially if you're kind of thinking you're past the point of no return. Well, today we are diving into the incredible story of how a total skeptic unlocked a pain-free life all after the age of 50. You know that feeling, right? That sense that your own body is slowly but surely seizing up. Getting out of a chair just takes a little more effort. Or maybe sitting on the floor to play with your kids or grandkids, just not an option anymore. Hey, you are not alone in this, and I promise you, it's not a life sentence. So let me introduce you to Tom Richardson. After nearly 3 decades in construction, Tom was pretty much the last person on earth you would ever find in a yoga class. He was a pure skeptic, totally convinced it was all just a bunch of nonsense. His story? Well, it's for anyone who's ever rolled their eyes at the idea of stretching. Okay, so to really understand the massive change that happened, we first have to get a clear picture of the problem. For Tom, daily life had become defined by pain and by all the things he couldn't do anymore. Things a lot of us are just told to accept as a normal part of getting older. I mean, just look at this. This was Tom's everyday reality. We're talking chronic pain that just shot out from his lower back, hips so completely locked up that playing with his grandkids on the living room floor was impossible, and sleep was constantly interrupted by pain. And believe me, he tried everything. Physical therapy, chiropractors, medications. Nothing gave him any real lasting relief. He was just stuck. So what was the turning point? It wasn't some new doctor or a miracle drug. No, it was a moment of pure, raw desperation in the middle of the night that led to a breakthrough he never, ever saw coming. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. Tom can't sleep because of the pain, so he's just scrolling on his phone. We've all been there. And then the YouTube algorithm serves him up a video that he would normally just laugh at and scroll right past. But, when you're desperate enough, you'll try anything, even the one thing you've spent years making fun of. So he actually does it. He gets down on the floor, he tries to copy the person in the video, bringing the soles of his feet together. And boy, was it a reality check. His hips were so tight that his knees were hovering a full foot off the ground. He literally said it felt like his hips were made of concrete. He just sat there for 5 minutes, trying to breathe like the video said. And then something absolutely incredible happened. He went back to bed, and for the first time in half a year, he didn't wake up from pain. Not once. He slept soundly all the way through the night. That one result, call it a placebo, call it whatever you want, that was all the proof he needed. So Tom was hooked, but he had no idea why it worked. What was actually happening inside his body? Well, it turns out this wasn't some kind of magic. It was just simple biomechanics and a little bit of neurology at play. The position is officially called Cobbler Pose, or Baddha Konasana, if you want the fancy Sanskrit name, and it gets its name because it mimics the exact way that traditional cobblers in India would sit for hours to do their work. It looks so simple, right? But its effects are just profound. You see, this one pose targets the very muscles that get completely locked up from our modern lives. I mean, think about it. All that sitting we do, in cars, at desks, it shortens our hip flexors, and it makes our inner thighs super tight. The cobbler pose gently starts to reverse that pattern, increasing blood flow and creating space where there was once just restriction. But get this, the change goes way beyond just the muscles. Our bodies have 2 main operating systems for our nervous system. Chronic pain and tension keep us stuck in that fight or flight mode, always on edge. By opening the hips and breathing deeply in this pose, you're physically flipping a switch. You're activating the rest and digest nerves. It's a direct signal to your body that it's safe to calm down, to repair, and to recover. This right here is the secret to why Tom slept so well. Okay, so Tom's one night of good sleep was definitely not a fluke. It was the very beginning of a complete transformation that went so much further than he ever thought was possible. Just check out this progression. It all started with better sleep on day 1. By week 4, that nagging back pain was actually fading. At the 6-month mark, he was totally pain-free and could get down on the floor with his grandkids. And just 1 year after that sleepless night, this former construction worker who couldn't even sit on the floor ran a 10K race with his daughter. Incredible. So here's the really crucial point. That one pose wasn't some magic bullet that fixed everything. It was the key that unlocked the door.
It was the proof he needed that change was actually possible, and that gave him the confidence to explore other movements and, ultimately, to reclaim an active, vibrant life he thought was gone for good. All right, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But you're probably wondering, okay, how do I actually do it? Let's break it down step by step so you can try this for yourself safely and effectively.
Okay, let's give it a go. First, just sit on the floor. And hey, if you need it, sit with your back against a wall for support. No shame in that. Next, bring the soles of your feet to touch. Then, simply let your knees relax and fall open to the sides. Now, the key here is not to force them down. Just let gravity do the work. Finally, you can hold your feet or your ankles, keep your spine nice and tall, and just breathe. That's it. Now, a few really important tips. If your knees are way up in the air like Tom's were, slide some pillows or blankets right underneath them. This gives them support and lets your muscles actually relax. You're looking for a gentle stretch, not sharp pain. Ever. Especially not in your knees. And honestly, the most important tip, be patient with your body. This is all about consistency, not about forcing a result overnight. The physical changes were frankly incredible. But as we wrap this up, I want to focus on what Tom said was the single most important change of all. And this one happened in his mind. You see, being able to run a 10K was amazing, sure. But the real victory for Tom was the shift from feeling like a victim of the aging process to feeling like he was actually in control of his own body. He realized he wasn't helpless. He had the power, right there, to make himself feel better. And this is the part that is just so empowering. That feeling of control, that freedom from pain. It didn't come from hours in a gym or some expensive treatment plan. It all started with just 5 minutes a day. That's it. A tiny, tiny investment of time that paid off in ways he never could have imagined. And I think this final thought from Tom just nails it. He said, I used to think flexibility was about touching your toes. Now I realize it's about moving through life without pain. We get flexibility wrong so often. It's not a party trick. It's not about being a contortionist. Real flexibility is just about the freedom to move through your day with ease. Tom's story is all the proof you need that your body is capable of amazing things, no matter how old you are or how stiff you feel right now. The only thing it really needs from you is your permission to start. So the question is, will you give it 5 minutes?